Hello everyone, my name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, a couple of days ago I did make a video about Josh Giddey finishing 10th in the most improved category, discussing whether or not it was a deserved outcome. That's obviously come and gone. We now need to talk about recent news about Josh Giddey, and that is he is seeking a gigantic, enormous contract in this upcoming free agency period. Now, is this contract justified? Should the Bulls be considering this? And ultimately, what are the risks if we do decide to stall and stay away from this massive contract? Let's discuss all this and more in this video. But before we get any further, if you liked the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about these Chicago Bulls and whether or not you think the Bulls should be giving Josh Giddey the massive amount of money, the humongously enormous amount of money. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but still, it's a pretty big contract. Should we be giving him that type of money, or should we be staying away and focusing on other aspects, maybe other players, maybe focusing on spending more money on a bigger player? Who knows what the outcomes may be. Let's get started. Josh Giddey is seeking, this is rumored by the way, a 5-year, $150 million contract. Now, since I don't know what that is divided by 5, because I am not that bright, we're going to use a calculator. We're going to divide by 5. That means Josh Giddey is probably going to be making around $30 million a year. I should have known that. That is really pathetic from me. But anyway, around $30 million a year. Well, firstly, that's not far away from what it was rumored before this big thing came out. Around 25 to 28 million a season. 30 million is pretty close to that range. So I'm not surprised by Josh Giddey wanting that type of money, but I can also understand both sides of the coin. Here's what I've been hearing from both sides. The first thing is, well, if Jalen Suggs is getting a big contract like that, I think it was 200 million he got or something along those lines, then obviously Josh Giddey should probably get that type of money. He's obviously produced at a very good level, especially towards the second half of the season, and the Bulls see value and a future in him. I can understand that. Again, if we're going to be comparing players to other players around the league, sure, he might deserve that type of money. But you got to keep in mind, Jalen Suggs is a defensive-minded player, one of the best defenders in the league. Josh Giddey is more offensive-orientated and more of a floor general. So they're not the same guys to be comparing to, but nonetheless, I understand why people could be comparing the type of money Josh Giddey wants compared to other players around the league. Like it or not, players are overpaid. They always have been. It's been a big thing around the league since I've been watching, and they probably always will be. I'm not saying Josh Giddey and $30 million is overpaid just yet. Do I think he's earned that with only half a season of amazing basketball? It remains to be seen. But the second half is he worth that type of money? Has he shown enough to be worth that type of money? Now, put it this way. If Josh Giddey performed at that near triple-double level the entire season, this wouldn't be a discussion. And if Josh Giddey performs at that level after this season, it won't be a discussion. He'll be worth that type of money. There's no doubts about it. But that's the thing. We've only seen half of it. Can we see that again? The worst scenario you could put yourself in as a Bulls fan is that we give Josh Giddey 30 million, maybe more, maybe a little bit less. Then he comes into next season, and instead of averaging that near triple-double and performing in that amazing plus-minus category and helping impact winning, you see him kind of refer back to the beginning of the season of last year, and he's kind of fighting for his spot. He's really, really poor, lackluster on defense. He's not making the impact you expect, and you feel like you've wasted that money. That's the worst place for a Bulls fan to be, so I can understand the trepidation there. I really, really can. Here's why I'm not worried about that. First and foremost, as an Australian, someone that really wants Josh Giddey to succeed, I do have faith that he's going to pull through and have some big seasons with the Chicago Bulls. Am I expecting him to be the next future MVP, All-Star, I guess first ballot All-Star, maybe All-NBA? Probably not straight away, but I see him making a big impact, and I see him showing his worth with that type of contract. I really believe that. The second thing is, I'm not necessarily scared about the price because this is restricted free agency, guys. This is not necessarily his choice. Yes, his agents might be looking around the league trying to find someone that will offer a big contract because he'll force the Bulls to match it if we want to keep him around. I understand that. But right now, it is really up to the Bulls, and the Bulls have the final say on everything that we do. If someone's going to give Josh Giddey 30 million a season and the Bulls don't want to do it, then we can walk away from that deal. Yes, we lose a valuable asset, but at least the Bulls chose not to be trapped with a 5-year contract with a player that may or may not be worth it, and they went down a different direction. That's not the worst thing in the world, ladies and gentlemen. It may hurt because we traded Alex Caruso for basically a season of Josh Giddey, but it's not the end of the world. So we have options there. But we also have options in terms of there's not many teams that can offer Josh Giddey that amount of money. A lot of teams are capped out. A lot of teams don't have financial wiggle room. You're looking at teams maybe like the Brooklyn Nets or the Washington Wizards or something like that that could offer Josh Giddey a large amount of money. Do you really see those teams going all out for Josh Giddey, giving Josh Giddey 30, 40 million a season? Maybe. I don't think so. I don't think those teams are going to be willing to do that. Brooklyn looks like they got their eyes on a superstar and willing to trade all their assets for it, and it just doesn't make sense for the Wizards in my opinion, but who knows. So even though he's looking for that type of money, 30 million, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to get that type of money. And that's where I guess the beauty of restricted free agency does come into play. The important thing to discuss, though, is that we shouldn't be lowballing the player to the point where it breaks that relationship between the Bulls and Josh Giddey. Let's just say no one offers him anything, and then we just give him 15 million a season. That is going to very much disrespect Josh Giddey, and it's going to show that the Bulls do not respect their players in free agency. We've had that reputation in the past, by the way, not giving players the amount that they deserve. If we're going to lowball Josh Giddey, that is going to disrespect the player. That could potentially break the relationship long term, and that may force Josh Giddey to kind of move elsewhere if need be. So we shouldn't be lowballing the player. We need to find the basic level of which the player is happy, the management team is happy, the Bulls are happy, everybody's happy. We need to find that middle ground. It may not be 30 million, but it's definitely not going to be a low ball offer either. That middle ground where everybody's happy, that could be the winner for everyone. So the Bulls need to find that. That's where negotiating comes into play. Of course, with restricted free agency, we're allowed to talk to Josh Giddey before anybody else does. So we have the right to talk to him. He could very well sign a contract before restricted free agency really kicks off. So there's a beautiful element there when it comes to restricted free agency. Clearly, he values the Bulls. He's talked about the Bulls very highly. The Bulls are definitely not a team to lowball him either. We don't lowball our players. We didn't lowball Levine. We didn't lowball DeRozan. We didn't lowball Vucevic. We didn't lowball Lonzo Ball. We didn't really lowball anyone. So I can't see them doing it with Josh Giddey. So I expect him to get a very big contract. I'm just not sure if that contract is 30 million. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. I will see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. God bless. Take care. And peace.